Hello team, welcome to API automation training, and today we will learn about the pre-request in test scripts. So we will see how we can execute the pre-script in Postman and what is the use of pre-request script in Postman. Here I am defining the complete workflow of the pre-request script and the test execution so that we can get the better idea. Whenever we are executing some request in Postman and if we have defined the pre-request script, then pre-request script will execute first before the API execution. Once pre-request script will execute, next execution will be done on the request side. So request will execute after the pre-request script, and once request will execute, it will execute the test cases which we have defined inside the request. So when we have the pre-request script, we have the request execution and we have the test execution in place in Postman, then this is the execution flow of the request. So as here mentioned that pre-request execution plays before the request execution, what is the use of pre-request execution script? So pre-request execution script will use to create the data set for the API request. Whenever you want to create the dynamic data for the API request, then you can use the pre-request script to create that dynamic data. Let's see how we can do that. Let's go to the Postman. Here in the Postman, we have a call create board. We was using few global variable, and you have seen we was using the hard coded name of the board, right? So once I will execute this request multiple time, what this will do, this will create the multiple board with the same name Postman testing 1, and we have already seen that thing as well. And if you want, I can show you that thing. So we are here on the boards and we have only one board, my first board. Let's hit this request. You can see the response code is 200. We don't have any test, so that we are not getting any test result, and one Postman testing 1 board is created. Hit the request again. Request successful. Another Postman testing board is getting created. Now suppose you want to generate this test data. What are you sending in a request at runtime? You want this data dynamic. So how we can achieve that? For that we need to go to the pre-request script, and over here you can generate the data. So first let's generate some environment variable. So we have the syntax over here to set the environment variable, and let's keep that environment variable name like board name, right? We are not keeping the value static, we will generate it dynamically. And we know over here we are executing the JavaScript code. So let's define the constant first and define some variable name like board name. And suppose we want to generate the board name dynamically. So let's assume we need the board name like sprint 1, sprint 2, or some random sprint over here. So let's mention some string like automation sprint. Then we put the concatenation over here. And now we can use the function called math.random to generate some random data. I will call math.random. This will generate the random data. And we need to typecast this in the integer as well, because this will not generate the integer value. To typecast this into the integer, we can use a function like parseInt. What this will do, this function will generate a random number. We will pass that number into the integer and will create a string. I will save this over here. What this will do, this will generate a board name which will have the board name like automation sprint, then some random number. Let's don't use that variable over here and hit this request again, so that the variable will be sent in the environment. Let's go to the environment. Let's show the variable, and you can see we are getting the board name like automation sprint 0. Let's do one more thing. Let's do one more change over here. Let's multiply this with a big number like 100 and send the request again. Let's go to the environment variable, and you can see we are getting the automation script 99. So this is a randomly generated number. If I will send the request again, we are getting another automation sprint over here. So now my board name is randomly generated, but over here we are still sending the hard coded name. Let's replace this and send the variable which we generated, which is board name environment variable. If you will keep your mouse over here, you can see this is environment variable, and right now it have some value. Once this Once this will be generated, we will put some test over here and we will check the status code. We will mention verify status code. We will check for the JSON value, and in the JSON value, suppose we will check the board name. So we need to check the JSON data dot name, and in that case, what is going to be my board name? My board name is going to be an environment variable. So instead of the 100, I need to keep the environment variable over here. So I will put the syntax to get the environment variable pm.environment.get, and over here I need to define my variable name. What is my variable name? My variable name is board name. So this will verify my board name which I'm generating, and we can see this board name is getting pushed into the environment variable. So once my test case will execute, I need to clean up that board name. I need to clean up that environment variable as well. For that, we will get the code to clean up the environment variable, and the syntax will be pm.environment.unset, and over here I need to pass my variable name like this. So this is my request where we have four variables: base URI, board name, authn key, and authn token. These are the parameters. They all are environment variable and global variable base. This is the pre-request script which is generating the board name, and this is the test script. And here we are checking for the status code for the board which is being created, and then basically we are cleaning up the environment variable. Before execute this script, we need to clear up the board which we have generated. So here we have already generated multiple boards, and you can see we have a limit of 10 boards. We are getting a message creating new boards for remaining. Team, please make sure once you will reach your limit, that API, the create board API will start failing. So we need to clean up these boards. For that, we need to open the board. We need to go to the more, close board, close, permanent delete, and click on the delete. So we need to follow this step for each and every board. Now you can see we have cleared all the boards, right? We'll go to the postman and hit this request. Let's hit this request. So you can see the request is successful and both of my test is also got passed. If we will go to the environment variable, then you can see the environment variable is also got cleaned. What is the board name in my case? Right now in the new request, I'm getting the board name automation sprint 65. We will go to the browser and you can say the new board is being created over here. So team, this is the reason why we need to create the pre-request script and what is the use of pre-request script and how we can use it. Thank you team. See you in the coming lecture.